Welcome to Veteran Resource Podcast, where you will meet nonprofit organizations focused on improving the lives of veterans and their family members. Here is your host, Jeremy Paris.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 87 of the Veteran Resource Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Paris. On today's Thought Leader Thursday episode, I've got a special guest, Josh Davidson, who is a longtime friend of mine. We go back many years. We've worked together on DoD contracts, and we've worked together on some film projects, and we've worked together with the Veteran Artist Program. Many things. He was my roommate for a while. Just a great guy overall. But when I came up with the idea for today's episode, which is being receptive to opportunity, Josh came to mind because Josh, throughout the years, Josh and I have had many conversations about being open to opportunity and about focusing on what it is that you want. And once you start going in that direction, the opportunities that have been around you all along, you start to notice. And so we wanted to get a little bit more into that today. And so I asked Josh to come on the show. So without any further ado, let's jump into the interview. Absolutely. So most people out there don't realize this. They don't know this. They've heard my story about how I got started in the veteran space with the Veteran Artist Program. But most people don't know that it's actually you that I have to thank for getting into the veteran space, because you're the one that introduced me to BR in the first place. You're the one that found out about what he was doing with veterans in film, and you told me that I should go with you to go and check that out. And that was back in 2010, and I've been in the veteran space doing crazy amount of things since then. So thanks, Josh.
You're welcome. I mean, ultimately, you're the one that joined the Army. I didn't know you that long ago, but yeah, I mean, BR was a great person to know, and he came along at a great time for me as well, so it worked out for both of us.
Absolutely. So let's start out, just kind of give the listeners a brief background on who is Josh Davidson.
All right. Well, I'm ultimately from Tennessee, and the Air Force really saved me from what I feel would have been a completely different life had I not joined the Air Force when I was 19. I went in and worked as a linguist in the Air Force, and I was lucky enough to get stationed here in the area at Fort Meade, and I've been here ever since.
So this was your first duty assignment?
Yeah, first and only.
Wow, I didn't know that about you.
I was in school for 2 years, learning Russian and then learning the technical aspects of the job, and then I came to Fort Meade and worked for less than 2 years there and got out.
Wow, I wonder if you would have been stationed somewhere else, if everything else would have been different, if you would end up staying in longer or gotten out and went back home to Tennessee.
Well, I definitely would have never gone back home to Tennessee. I love everyone there, but it's just when I joined the Air Force, I went straight to California after basic and lived in a dorm room that overlooked the ocean. And wow. That really started my love affair with the water and the ocean, and I just can't ever see myself not living very near water. Yeah, I mean, everything would have definitely been different for sure, but I'm very thankful for the military and for what it did for me. I was able to get a really good job right afterwards, and and I just kind of stayed in Maryland ever since. And I don't think I'd be anywhere else other than maybe like Puerto Rico or something. But
yeah, that would be nice. Well, you're living pretty close to the water now, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. Live on an island in Maryland.
Yeah. Surrounded by water. Can't beat that.
Absolutely.
So today's episode, and the reason why I brought you on for the Thought Leader Thursday, is today's subject is being receptive to opportunity. And out of everybody I know, you are the one that I feel like follows that and has gotten the most out of being receptive to opportunity. So I thought I'd bring you on and talk a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I like to, and I go through times where I find myself not doing this, but I like to wake up and every day at least spend 10 minutes of quiet time before I even move. And I suppose you can call it meditation, and just being grateful and opening my mind up for opportunities that come throughout the day. And, you know, if you're looking for them, there's, you know, hundreds of opportunities a day, really. And if you know exactly what you want to hone in on, I mean, you can really, if you're ready for it and you're willing to take chances and really be open, you know, anything that you want really is possible and can be found through your day-to-day interactions. And if you're open for opportunities, then you actually kind of start creating the opportunities, because then you make choices with that intention in mind.
Right, absolutely. The way I like to think about it, like, I mean, I've seen this in books and heard people say different things like this also, but like for me, I have a Prius that I bought not too long ago. Before I had that Prius, I noticed some Priuses out on the road here and there.
Right.
But once I bought that Prius, I saw them everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like more people went out and bought Priuses and started driving around me once I bought mine. They've always been there. They've just not been in my focus. So, like, if I was a satellite dish, I was tuning out all of those signals. You know, all of the Priuses that were going by me, I was tuning those out. But once I got the Prius and I'm liking it, and I'm seeing more and more out there, I'm opening myself up to receive those signals. And I feel like opportunities are exactly the same way, where there's opportunities around you every single day, all day long. There's opportunities that are all around you, but you're not opening yourself up to those because you don't have a direction in mind that has to do with those opportunities. So really, those opportunities aren't there for you because you're not looking for them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, like along the same lines, you know, I'm a photographer and I have a photography studio, and just with social media, almost every day there's something out there that I can view that says, oh, I'm looking for a photographer for this, or you know, somebody says, oh, I just got engaged. Well, you know, there's an opportunity. If it's someone I know or don't know, I can just contact them and say, hey, I'm a photographer. I do that. If you're looking for engagement photos or save the date photos or wedding photos, that's 3 opportunities with one person to, you know, make money and actually do what I love. And it's the same thing with the antique store. People are always giving away stuff and selling things, and I mean, a lot of it is I have an antique store, so people come to me. But
Right.
At the same time, through conversations and through social media, and, you know, there's opportunities that I just have to listen for and be ready for, and I can jump on it, and a lot of things come to me that way, which is really great.
Well, for the listener out there, if this episode sounds a little bit different sound-wise, it's because we're on location at Josh's Antique Store, Exposed Treasures, here on Kent Island. And this here came to you through opportunities. And in fact, getting into buying and selling antiques from the start was one opportunity after another. And if I recall, it started with finding some money in the washer. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I've kind of always bought and sold stuff my whole life. I mean, I've been on eBay since '97.
Oh, wow.
Which was, I think, eBay started in '95 maybe. And so I've kind of always done that, but certainly never really focused on antiques. And a few years ago, I found $80 in a washing machine, and you know, we weren't exactly sure whose $80 it was. So instead of, you know, splitting it up or you know, arguing further, I decided to take the $80 and buy something with it, and then turn that $80 into some more money. So it's funny because that $80 that I spent at an auction turned into about $600. But I also had, if I bought 20 things at this auction, I still had like 10 things left. Wow. And so then I took that money and bought other things with it, and very quickly I amassed more money, but I also amassed more items. And at the time I was selling them on Craigslist and wherever, to friends or whatever. And then I was in an antique store here on Kent Island, and I noticed that for the first time in my life, I noticed that it wasn't just the owner of the antique store's items. It was small booths of items rented out to different people. So I put myself on the waiting list, and a couple months later, a booth opened up and started selling things in that antique store, and very, very quickly had so much stuff it was really overflowing at the house. And was driving by a empty storefront, saw a for rent sign in the door, and just like that, the next day I had an antique store. It wasn't like I had planned to have an antique store, but I was enjoying the small booth that we were selling out of, and then it was just an opportunity that it was a really cheap rent, and it was 2,500 square feet. And that's coming from, we were selling out of 80 square feet at the antique store we were selling out of. So took about a month and bought more things and filled that store up. And then I expanded into a 2,500 square foot warehouse right next door within a year. And next thing you know, it was 5,000 square feet antique store. And that location wasn't perfect, so I moved to a new location, which is where I am now in Chester, and it's around 4,000 square feet, including my photography studio. I really love the type of things I have. I sell a lot of nautical stuff, and which is another, I came about that by another opportunity to start salvaging boats, and it's a lot of work, and it's hard to find the boats to salvage, but it's really fruitful when you find it, and it's really rewarding. And again, that's just like an opportunity that kind of sprung up out of nowhere, but I was ready to accept it, and I've really gotten a lot of sales and a lot of great things out of salvaging boats, like making furniture out of parts from boats.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff is really cool too. But all of these, like from the start, that first opportunity, that first antique store, like you said, you had no idea that you wanted to start your own antique store. But that place that you drove by that was for rent, that was probably for rent for a while, right?
Yeah, I think it had been empty for like 8 months, maybe a year.
Right, so for 8 months to a year, that opportunity was there. You just weren't open to it because you had no idea that you wanted to be, in the antique business at that level. And as soon as you decided, this is what I want to do, I want to start this antique store, that opportunity that was there all along now became a brand new opportunity for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny too, because I had a full-time job at the time, and I had no business opening an antique store, to be honest. But, at the same time, subconsciously probably, I hated my job, and I was miserable. And, I was so miserable to the point where I think I was having stress headaches and just felt horrible just going to work. And, I think, again, subconsciously, I was really looking for a way out, and that opportunity presented itself, which caused me to have to cut back hours at work, which caused me to, even though I wasn't making as much money, especially at first, it caused me to be happier and healthier. And eventually that led me to just quitting my job because I couldn't really do both to 100% like I should be doing, and I definitely was much happier and healthier getting completely out of that business.
Yeah, yeah. And going into the nautical side of it with the antiques, I mean, this is a perfect location, being on an island on the water here, and there's so much around here as far as nautical antiques, but you had a love of the water which really led you in that direction, that you wanted to start going after that. When you first started antiquing, most of your stuff wasn't nautical, but now I would say, I don't know, what percentage of your store would you say are nautical items?
Well, I mean, at least a quarter. I mean, we're talking, 4,000 square feet. So a very high percentage. But, I wouldn't say a quarter of the items at the store, but a quarter of the sales, because it's hard to actually hold on to the nautical items because they sell so fast. So a lot of what I have left is the non-nautical items, but it's just because, every time I get something nautical in the store, it's very quickly, goes off the shelves, because people, especially in this area and going to Ocean City with their beach houses, they really love the nautical items and the decor.
And especially the ones that you're able to turn into different pieces of unique furniture and things like that. Those things seem to go pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think people are really tired of, the big brand name stores where, hundreds of thousands of people have the same exact dining room table or the same picture hanging on the wall, when you can come to a store like mine where we make a lot. I mean, I'd say 30% of the items in my store are actually made by local people and by myself. Signs, art, tables, furniture. And so you're not going to find, another coffee table made out of a ship's wheel like you have at my store, or a dining room table made out of a old barn door, or you might find that somewhere else, but it's going to be unique and different and special.
Right. Now, there's listeners that are listening to this episode from all around the country, and even some outside of the country. Do you sell some of your items through through online sales, or is it all just here at the store?
No, actually, with the economy in today's market, it's a challenge to have a brick and mortar store, and I think that I see stores closing all the time. Just this last month, there's been 2 different stores closed that are somewhat similar to mine. They sell the kind of the home decor and items like that. And I really think that you have to have an online presence, or it's really difficult to make it these days. So I sell anywhere online that I can. I have a website, I have Facebook, I sell stuff on Instagram, eBay, really anywhere. And actually, I'm getting ready to start a nautical themed or nautical focused website to sell a lot of the nautical stuff that I get. And we ship pretty much anything, anywhere.
Very cool. And I will put links to your Facebook and your Instagram and the Exposed Treasures website and everything. I will put that all in the show notes, which people will be able to get to nice and easily.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Absolutely. So is there any other advice that you would say to the listeners? A lot of them, we've got 21,000 military members that are transitioning out of the military every single month. What would you say to them about, being open to opportunity?
Really, it's kind of great when you get out of the military, because you really are able to start over, and it's not starting over from scratch necessarily. You can, if that's what you wish to do, but, you can really take your experiences and your knowledge from the military and put it into anything that you want to do. And there's so many great skills that you get in the military, and that pour over to any kind of career. And I just think that putting yourself out there and not being afraid, don't be afraid to try something new, to get into a new career field. The skills that you learn in the military really are very general to anything.
Right.
So if you were an airplane mechanic in the military, you don't have to go to an airport and try to be an airplane mechanic or even a car mechanic, because just with basic training and with, everyone in the military learns a huge set of skills for dealing with people, and really that's the best thing, is to know how to talk to people and know how to be good with people, and that really helps you in anything that you want to do. But be open to opportunity, and don't be afraid to do whatever you want to do, because there's so many things, so much opportunity if you just keep your eyes open and are ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I could say, for me too, I got out of the military and I went into a job, and I was good at the job. I've had the skills, so I was great at doing that job, but it wasn't my passion. And as soon as I started to go in the direction of my passion and those opportunities opened up, like starting this podcast and volunteering to help with the Veteran Artist Program and helping out with Music for More, and all of these opportunities came to me once I started following, in the direction of my passion.
Yeah. And, and even if you do have a job, there's also lots of opportunity to volunteer and to help. And like with both you and I, once we got out of the military, we did go with a job, a regular job, but we still kept, that other activities going, and our volunteer work and our passions really led us into an actual career outside of that regular job. So even if you don't immediately start doing what you love or start doing something else, don't lose sight of that and keep going, and you never know where it's going to lead. And again, we both kept our eyes open for opportunity, and we're able to jump on it when those opportunities revealed themselves.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And if anybody out there wants to get in contact with you, or maybe they're thinking about going into the antique business, or maybe they just want to get started buying and selling some items, going to some auctions and stuff like that, do you mind if they come your way?
No, absolutely. I'm always open to, help anyone and give advice. And, I'm an open book. So I'm very, very receptive to anyone who's looking for any help.
Excellent. I'll put links to get in contact with you in the show notes so everybody can find you nice and easily.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Yep. Thanks for being on. Thank you for listening to episode 87. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you are opening yourself up, being a little bit more receptive to the opportunities that are around you. But you can't really do that until you know the direction that you want to go. A lot of you might be transitioning out of the military. A lot of you might have transitioned a long time ago, and you're trying to figure out what it is you want to do. Well, kind of try to get clear on that first. And once you do know the direction you want to go in, be open to all of the opportunities that take you in that direction. As always, I invite you to go over to the show notes and check those out. veteranresourcepodcast.com/087. That'll get you there. And you'll see information about Josh and about his store. And you'll have all of the links to connect with Josh. Check him out on Instagram and all of that. You might be thinking about getting into buying and selling some antiques, or maybe you're looking for something very unique for your own place. Either way, Josh is always open to having a conversation with you, so go and get connected. That's all I have for you today. I will see you next week for episode 88.